Now let us go on to the first chapter, the 9th verse. And God said, "Let the waters under heaven be gathered together in one place, and let dry land appear." And it was so. And the waters under heaven, of course, are the grosser elements of earth, water, fire, air, and ether, which makes up this material universe. And so he gathered those together according to the idea in his great consciousness, and dry land and earth appeared. And now going on to the 11th verse, or 10th verse. And God called the dry land earth, and he gathered together the waters, and he called these the seas. And God saw that it was good. Then God said in the 11th verse, "Let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after its kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth." And it was so. And then it goes on in the next verse to speak about the herbs and the trees. And then it says in the 13th verse, "And this was the evening and morning of the 3rd day." It took many, many years, as science is showing us now, to produce these different stages of creation. And this is another one of the days. Now going on to the 20th verse. "And God said, Let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that hath life, and the fowl that they may fly upon the earth in the open firmament of heaven. And God created great whales, and every living creature that moveth, which waters brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind. And God saw that it was good." And then it goes on to say that this was the evening and morning of the 5th day, showing that here was another cycle to produce the animal kingdom. Do you understand? And of course, many of you know, I'm sure, that life, the animal nature, comes from water and the oceans, and so God brought those things out according to the pattern in his great causal being. Now going on to the 20, in this verse it says, "Let the waters swarm with swarms of living creatures." And that was the 5th day, the 5th cycle. Now we go on to the 26th verse, which is getting down nearer to where we come in this great creation of God. Everybody wants to know, where do I fit into this picture? Well, here you are now. And then it says in the 26th verse, "And God said, Let us make man." If he'd stopped there, it'd been bad. But he didn't. "In our image," he said. "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let him have dominion over the fish, and the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth." But it doesn't say let him have dominion over his wife. That's one thing he left that out. Why? Because he gave us free will. Otherwise would be automaton. God gave us free will. And so here we find that we are made in the image of God. Let us make man in our image. That's the important thing. Now let us means, this is important, us refers to the spiritual expressions of which I spoke a little bit ago. Those entities which control the causal universe, the astral universe, the material universe. Those also spiritual expressions which control the human body, the causal part of it, the astral part, and the material part. That us means those forces. Let those forces make man. Man had been created, his body, but let us make spiritual man, that's it, in the image of ourselves. That's why That's why we can go back to God, because we have within us everything that's in the universe upon universe is in us, in miniature. We have the sun, we have the planets in the spine, in the centers of the spine, the positive and negative aspect. We have the 12 signs of the zodiac. We have everything within us. That's why we are made in the image of God, and that's why we can return to God. Did you ever think of that? That's why it says in the Bible what? Know thyself. Everything is within us. God's consciousness is our own consciousness. Master has said there's absolutely no difference between bliss consciousness in you and God consciousness. And so we have everything within us. As God has everything, so have we. And so in the 26th verse it says, let us make man in our image after our likeness. And this was the 6th day. Then finally, in the last part of the chapter, it says, and God saw that everything he had made, and it was very good. And this was the evening and morning of the 6th day. Then it says in chapter 2, the first 2 verses, and thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the 7th day, God ended his work, which he had made, and he rested on the 7th day from all his work which he had made. And so, in those cycles, those 6 great cycles, God had manifested all